So this is Lazarillo de Tormes, Tractado 3, Part 5. Okay. In this way, I was with my third and poor master, who was a squire some days, and in all these days, wanting to know the reason why he came to this land and why he was staying in this land. Because from the first day that I ended up with him, I I I knew that him to be a foreigner because he did not know very much those who were natives of that land, who were from that village. He didn't know them very much, and he didn't have much sort of relationship with them. In the end, my wish was granted, and I found out what I wanted to know. Because one day, when we had eaten reasonably well, and he was somewhat happy, he told me about his estate, his fortunes, his affairs, and he told me that he was from Old Castile and that he had left his lands for nothing else than for not wanting to take off his hat to a knight who was his neighbour. Sir, I said to him, if he was what you say, and he had more than you, were you not wrong in not wanting to take off your hat to him first, since you say that he also would take his hat off to you? Yes, it is that. He has greater status than me, and also he would take his hat off to me. But of all those times that I took it off to him first, it wouldn't have been bad for him to offer once to do it and to win me by the hand. For him to offer to do it and the man ends up taking his hat off before the squires. It seems to me, sir, I said to him, that in this I wouldn't be bothered about this, especially with my betters and those who have more than me. You're just a small lad, he said to me, and you do not feel these things of honour, which in nowadays is everything regarding fortune and wealth of men, of good men, hombres de bien. Indeed, I let you know that I am, as you see, a squire, but I vow to you by God, if I came across a count in the street, and he did not take off his hat to me all as it should be, bien quitado, like take it off properly. Next time that he comes, I would know that I'd have to. I would know to go into a house pretending that I had some type of business, or I would cross over to the other street if there was one. I'd do all this before he crossed paths with me, so as not to take my hat off to him. For a hidalgo, for a gentleman, well, a particular type of gentleman in hidalgo, does not owe anything to anyone other than to God and to the king. And nor is it just being as I am, being a good man, that it is good for a good man to let himself go, que se descuide en un punto de tener mucho su persona, than to, what's this mean? It's not good for a good man, it's not just for a good man to slip in one point of considering his person in greatness. Basically, that one should always have pride in oneself and never slide down in not having total pride in oneself. I remember that one day I dishonoured in my land a not an official, what was it? It's a skilled worker, like someone who does manual work, like a carpenter or something. And I wanted to hit him. I wanted to put on him the hands, because each time that I'd come across him, he would say to me, "Let God keep you well to you." So that, let God, may God keep you well, you vuesa merced. And he said to him, the master said to this person who says, you awful peasant. I said to him, why is it that you're not well-mannered and well brought up? Is this what you've said to me? You've said to me that God keep you well. You have said to me as if I was just anybody. Now, the thing to know here is that here, what he actually said to him is, he called him os, yeah? He called him boss. Whereas here, what he should have said is, he should have called him vuesa merced. He should have called him usted, not boss. And so he says, you've said to me that God may keep you well, as if I was just anybody. From now on, from here and there, and then after that, so from then on, and whenever he saw him, he would take off his hat, this carpenter, this unskilled man, and he would talk to him as he ought to. And then Lazarillo asks his master, and isn't it a good way to say, to greet a man, for one man to greet another? I said, to say to him that may God keep him well. Look, mucho de enhoramala. There's much wrong in this, he said. They say that, using boss, yeah, to men of little wit and skill. But to the higher men, as I am, they should not speak to them in anything less than the following. I kiss the hands of vuesa merced. Was it vuestra merced in this time? It's either vuestra or vuesa. I kiss the hands of your mercy. Or at least I kiss to you, sir, the hands. So here they're using boss, but it's boss senor. Yeah, it's not just boss, it's senor. So they're using the morphological form os. So I kiss you, os. It's not at vuesa merced, but they're using the title sir. I kiss you, sir, the hands. If he, so the person who's allowed to do that is if the person who is talking to me is a knight, so therefore a higher rank. And so that man of my land, who literally filled me up of, may someone keep you well. So it literally, who always kept saying to me that of, may God keep you well. Que Dios os mantenga. I could not anymore. I did not want to put up with him anymore, nor would I put up with, nor will I put up with any man of the world, downwards from the king, who says, mantenga os Dios, me diga. So anyone who says to me, may God keep you well. I'm using the os and not the senora. Oh, what a sinner I am. I said, that's just a set phrase. It's also pecador de mí. Oh, whatever for me. That is why he has, so he's referring to the master, has such little such little care in keeping himself well, since he does not allow no one to ask it for him. In the sense, he doesn't allow anyone to ask God to keep him well. Moreover, he said, the master, I am not so poor that I do not have in my where I'm from, lands with houses on. That if they were erect, like if they weren't actually falling down, so if they weren't falling down and they were well built, they would be worth more than 200,000 maravedís. And these casas, these houses, which are 10 and 6 leagues from where I was born, in that costanilla, in that area, must be, of Valladolid. And if they weren't falling down, he would be able to, they would be worth all this money. And accordingly, they could be made to be big and good. And also I have what's Palomar? Dovecot, which, if this wasn't knocked down as it is, like, it will give each year more than 200 birds, pigeons, and other things which I won't mention. So he's got other things which he won't mention, all which I left for what was concerning my honour. And I came to this city thinking that I would find a good position, but it's not happened as I thought. So canons and respected individuals of the church, I come across many of them, but these people are very limited. And que no los sacarán, that one cannot, so they will not, basically literally, but one cannot divert them from their path. So no one in the world will be able to get them away from what they think. So we've got very fixed ideas. Y que no los sacarán de su paso todo el mundo. No one can change the views. And also knights of the middle classes, the media talla, also have asked me to work for them, but to serve these men is great toil. It's very hard work, because you have to because men, if you do that, you have to change, become a sort of dog's body who does whatever. And if you don't, they say to you, these middle class knights, go with God. You can be on your way. Also, more than not, the payment is in the future. So they say they'll pay you, but you end up being paid much in the future. And more times than not, so this las must refer to las más veces, y las más ciertas, and more times than not, almost always really, comido por servido. So that means they give you something to eat for having served them. So you don't get wages, you just get your keep. And even when they want to make up their conscience, so they feel bad about all this, and satisfy all your labours, then what happens is you're paid. So you're a very old way to say paid. You're paid in the like not antechamber, in the side room. And what this means is that they'd just give you old clothes. You're paid in the side room where supposedly you would get dressed, and you're paid in a chubon, which is a gauntlet. It's one of those strange sort of tops that they wear, in a sweaty top, or a cape or a tunic which is all frayed. And then when someone ends up with a lord who has a title, so someone of particular standing, even then still he ends up enduring misery, since by chance no hay en mi habilidad. Well, perhaps you may be thinking that in me there isn't the skill to serve and to make these men happy. By God, if I came across a man like this, muy gran supervidio, pienso que sería, if I came across him, I think that I would become his closest aide, the one who he tells all his secrets to, his very great closest aide, and I would do to him 1,000 services, because I would know how to lie to him as well as any other man, and also how to make him happy and praise him to the 1,000 marvels of the world. So reille, I would laugh at his ways and his customs. So this could be jokes as well, although they weren't the best in the world. And I would never say to him anything that he didn't like, although it could be a benefit for him. I would know how to be very diligent with respect to his person, both in word and in deed. I wouldn't kill myself in order to not do things well that he wasn't going to see, and I'd start telling off when he could hear it, people who were in his service. So it seemed that I had great preoccupation about everything, about what was related to him. Also, if he was telling off someone who was his servant, I would know how to give some sharp comments to infuriate him, and that it might seem in favour of the guilty person. Decirle bien de lo que bien estuviese, to say to him well what was good for him, and on the other hand, to also be malicious and a slanderer, and another word for slanderer, and so spreading bad gossip, both in those in the house and those outside the house. I'd be able to, well, I suppose, research or get the gossip most probably, and to know about the lives of other people in order to tell him all about it, and other many things of this type that nowadays are done in the palace. Y a los señores del parecen bien. That nowadays are done in palace, and it seems these things seem good to the High Lords. Y no quieren ver en sus yeah. And these High Lords, they don't want to see in their houses men who are virtuous. Before seeing them virtuous, they hate them, and they hold them in low regard. They call them fools, y que no son personas de negocio, and that they are not men of the world with whom the High Lord can feel at ease with. Y con estos los jesuitas usan, como digo yo, de lo que yo sería. And so those crafty men, they make use with these type of men who serve them, who do all the gossip mongering and find out the facts. So these clever men, which must be the High Lords, they use these other men, just as I tell you, which is done nowadays, and what I would use them too, and I would like to do all this too. But my luck doesn't want But my luck doesn't want me to find that person. In this way, my master was lamenting his adverse fortune, his bad luck, and telling me all about his very good person, and telling me how he was a good person, worthy person.